It's the Android phone so many have been waiting for. Forget exploding notes and patent battles, the Galaxy S8 is doing its best to be the must-have smartphone for 2017. With one frustrating exception, I can't fault Samsung's design. The Galaxy S8 is clearly related to its predecessors, but it cranks the minimalist aesthetic up to 11. Gently tapering glass front and back, a slim metal frame, and attention to detail we once only gave Apple credit for. It looks fantastic and it feels every bit as good in your hand. IP68 water and dust proofing leave the S8 more rugged than it might appear, though as with the jet black iPhone 7, scratches are going to be a fact of life. Unlike Apple's phone, Samsung finds room not only for a USB-C port, but a 3.5mm headphone jack too. That flaw? It's the location of the fingerprint scanner. Samsung has done away with the physical home button in the name of trimming down the bezels, which I don't have a problem with. What's frustrating is their decision to put the relocated fingerprint sensor right next to the side of the rear camera. Invariably, that means you swipe your greasy fingertip all over the camera lens. Even if your aim is solid, it's a reach. Luckily, there's the Note 7's iris scanner, which unlocks the S8 with a single glance. It's not the only point at which you get options. The Google Assistant is on board, but Samsung also has its own assistant in the shape of Bixby. Eventually, you'll be able to control everything on the S8 by voice alone. At launch, though, it's limited to Bixby Vision, Home and Reminder. Visual search for landmarks, products and QR codes isn't new, though Bixby Vision does link neatly into online services like Vivino and Amazon. Scan a bottle of wine and you can pull up tasting notes, for instance. Bixby's usefulness in shopping depends on how distinct the packaging is. The S8 sometimes struggled to pick out the exact product. As for Bixby Home, that's full of dynamically generated cards for things like music, news and location-based reminders. Although they're interesting, right now they don't quite warrant the dedicated and non-customizable Bixby button on the side. Hopefully Bixby Voice will change that later in the year. I could forgive you for wishing it was a camera shortcut instead. The double tapping the power button does that too. Samsung has stuck with the 12-megapixel camera it used on the S7 and Note 7, updated with new algorithms and software. It might not have twin lenses, but the results are great: accurate colours, broad dynamic range, and solid low light performance. There's an advanced mode in the camera app too, which allows granular control over exposure, ISO and more. Android 7.0 Nougat isn't quite the latest version, but at least Samsung doesn't go too wild with its interface customizations. The Edge bar is back, with plenty of extra options to download from Samsung's store. Samsung Connect shows some promise when it comes to collating the various parts of your smart home together, though I found exactly what you can do with it sometimes pales compared to each device's native app. As for accessories, I'm yet to try the intriguing DeX dock, which turns the S8 into a desktop PC replacement. The new Gear VR with its Oculus-powered controller, though, borrows the wireless remote concept from Google's Daydream and is all the better for it. If you've already got a Gear VR, you can buy it separately too. The big question is whether the Galaxy S8 does enough to distract us from the iPhone 8 on the horizon. Honestly, the answer is yes. Samsung has knocked it out the park with this new phone, and whether you go for the S8 or its larger S8 Plus sibling, you're getting the best Android handset on the market today.